Greetings. I'm the Reverend Molly Bosscher, President of the Standing Committee of the Episcopal Diocese of the Great Lakes, and I am here with the Reverend Alan James, who is our Interim Executive Officer. Over the last couple of days, we have introduced to you, we've talked about some of the changes that we've made organizationally with our mission and with our mission regions, and we've talked about some of the staffing and structure issues that we kind of knew that we had. And today is going to be a bit of a longer video because we're going to talk about the org chart. Your standing committee spent a considerable amount of time with this particular issue. And part of the reason we spent a considerable amount of time is because this is so very important. Like it's how we work, how we relate, how our diocesan staff relates to each other, and also how we serve the church and the churches in our diocese. And so this was not done without prayer. This was not done without a lot of consideration. And I'm going to pass the microphone on to Alan for all of the details.
I encourage you, if you've not yet, to go to the narrative description of this. There are links to the org chart and a document that sort of gives a 3,000-foot level view of the responsibilities for each of the different positions. Because again, I think particularly if you're a visual person, having that chart present as I talk about the different pieces of the staff will be helpful. So the first thing that you'll notice is that where we used to just sort of have a broad, large program staff, we have made a slight differentiation to identify 4 people as sort of the executive team. Their function will mostly, I think, be to have a good grasp of everything that's happening sort of in their department, everything down the org chart tree, so that if I, or eventually the bishop, needs to have sort of a quick conversation with a small group of people, those 4 individuals will be able to bring the breadth of the work of what's going on throughout the whole staff. But otherwise, we will continue to meet regularly as program staff. That will be our weekly meeting. And amongst those 4, the director of congregational vitality will be identified as a first among equals. So when I'm not here, that person will sort of assume a leadership role. It's also a role, again, the way the structure is set up, that should the future bishop want to, that person could serve in a role as sort of canon of the ordinary. Right? One of the biggest changes in this whole org chart is moving from the 3 regional canons who do all the sort of congregational development work in their particular collaborative, sort of in parallel to one another, in communication with each other, but sort of they're responsible for intervening and supporting the mission and ministry of the congregations in their own collaborative. We're moving from that to a more integrated, what we're calling a congregational support team, which will be the 3 priests and 4 of the lay staff members. 3 of those lay staff members and the 3 clergy, the 3 priests, will serve as a congregational staff liaison. So each congregation will still have an individual on staff to whom they can always reach out. I've sort of been using the metaphor, right? It's kind of like a health advocate, right? They're not necessarily the doctor that you're going to need, but when you need to find a doctor, when you need to get people sort of communicating, this is the person you call. So if you don't know who to call on staff, call your staff liaison. If you can't hear from another staff member and you're not getting a response, call your staff liaison to sort of intervene. Additionally, all of the 6 staff members who serve as staff liaison, plus Jess Kidder, who is leading our Holy Ground for Whole Communities, serve as the congregational support team. So they'll be meeting once a week to say, here's what's going on in the particular parishes. Here's what I know about sort of changes, congregations that are looking to do something or needing help in a particular way. And instead of only the staff liaison being the one that goes to them, if another one of the congregational support team, it's in their portfolio, it's in their experience, they have particular personal relationships with the leadership, any one of the congregational support team may be the one who responds to a particular congregation's need in that moment. So we're really hoping this will provide sort of a rich opportunity for the staffs to even better support the congregations in your mission and ministry. Now, there are also some particular changes you'll see in sort of portfolio, a couple redefined positions. So start on the left of the org chart, the finance associate for congregational support is a newly defined role. It's the same total number of sort of full-time equivalent positions in the finance office, a full-time CFO, and 2 part-time staff members supporting the CFO. In our current model, we had a bookkeeper and a financial assistant. So they were all doing sort of back of the house, number data related jobs. And it meant that our CFO, Sarah Philo, was the primary person to respond to parish needs. And it meant they don't always happen in sort of a timely way because she was busy, particularly during this season of juncture, with doing a lot of other things. So our hope in this new structure, this financial associate will be responsible for parish audits, parochial reports, the congregational side of HR benefits. So when a new priest or lay staff member who works enough hours for benefits and needs to be enrolled either in pension or health insurance, this will be the person who's working with them. Sarah Philo, the CFO, will still be the sort of HR benefits administrator, but will be working more with sort of the CPG-facing tasks. In that area of congregational vitality, the director of congregational vitality will be the transition officer, helping all the congregations from the start of a formation of a search committee through a celebration of new ministry. The director for mission and community engagement, we talked about in the last video that we had a staff person for beloved community and creation care, but not any of other sort of social justice outreach type ministry. And so Canary Love Parish's portfolio is being expanded to include all of these areas. So if you're either involved in or curious about starting a particular ministry or networking with someone else, we encourage you to contact her. The Director for Vocational Discernment and Equipping and the Director of Formation, we're changing a little bit how things go. In our current model, it's been sort of age generationally based, where Karen Tracy Little was adult formation and the Academy for Vocational Leadership. And Mackenzie did everything from sort of children, youth, young adult campus ministry. And so what we're doing in this model is, instead of doing sort of an age separation generationally, it's sort of function. So Mackenzie will be responsible for supporting the diocese and congregations and all parts of personal spiritual formation. So if it's about myself, about confirmation, it's about EFM, it's about a Lenten or Advent study for a congregation, that will fall into Mackenzie's portfolio. Tracy, on the other hand, will be working with folks who are training for ministry, lay ordained, so all of our lay licenses, as well as those who are preparing for ordination locally, and the discernment work for both. That will be sort of her portfolio area. The one other place where there's some changes in our support work in the area of youth ministry. In our current model, we've had 3 regional youth ministers who've done great work supporting Director Mackenzie Nill in the work that she's been doing. But we've discovered sort of a need for greater support for our youth who are going to the camping program, both for what it means for the excellence of our program, but also to sort of leverage Mackenzie's ability to do all parts of her portfolio throughout the year that currently, because of the lack of greater support, administrative, logistic, as well as sort of on-site, that we lose her to the other parts of her portfolio for a good 5 months out of the year. And so the hope and the goal in this new structure is to enable her to be doing more of her portfolio during more of the year. So as far as timeline, we have identified sort of September 15th as the day that will sort of make the changes, both around staff structure and about going from collaboratives to mission regions. The reality, however, this is a more of a rolling transition that we, diocesan staff, we're already talking about like how to live into this. And so there's a little bit of sort of run up to change. And then also in all of these areas, it will be something that we live into over time. So it's not just simply sort of a light switch, but we have identified, because deadlines are important, we all know, September 15th is the day that we'll be sort of instituting these changes. There's some sort of great timing as far as communications and questions. So on September 16th, there's already an all-clergy call scheduled, and we'll be talking about and inviting feedback, questions, comments around all of these changes on the 16th at the all-clergy call, and then a previously scheduled warden's call in the evening. We're expanding and will be a diocesan town hall. And so we invite all the sort of lay members of the diocese and any clergy that can't participate in the all-clergy call in the afternoon to join us in the evening call as we talk about these changes, what they might mean, how we live into them. And again, to sort of say that the Standing Committee has done a lot of work in adopting these changes, but we know this is a work in progress. These are not final changes in any way. And so we encourage you to be a part of these calls. And also, in the meantime, feel free to contact either Molly or myself if you have any questions.
We are grateful for the time that you have spent with us while we are trying to unfold and tell you all about these new changes. And just as a final thought, we really believe in this work. We believe in the work of the Episcopal Church here in Michigan. And we also believe in these changes your standing committee does, and they're not set in stone. If we need to change them, we will. Thank you for your time, and grateful for all of you serving your churches and being part of the Episcopal Church in the Episcopal Diocese of the Great Lakes.